feels good. It's always impressive when you put your right foot down in a Formula One car for the first time, and just nice to be back behind the wheel.
Radical but aggressive green machine is turning heads. With the way that it came out in its shakedown, a lot of things have now been kind of shown to the public as to where the loopholes are in this car. If we remember an article not too long ago, Dan Follows talks about finding loopholes and making the car aggressive. We do see that this thing is damn sure aggressive, but now I have, in some other images that other people have talked about and found, loopholes for the AMR 23 that has not been seen on any other car as of yet, with the exception of one, which I will mention by the end of the video. Before we start this video, please like and subscribe. We are so close to 500. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for supporting. And let's get into the AMR 23 analysis. So starting off with this beautiful shot of Fernando in the car, where we can really see how deep these side pods really are. At first, looking at this car, when we saw it in the renders specifically and the show car that they ended up showing, they actually said that the side pods weren't as radical as they are on the real car. Clearly, looking at this picture, that side pod dips like crazy. It's a lot more than what we saw off of the images. The images just kind of had it like almost curling around. No, this dips completely, giving it an insane waterfall slide effect, kind of like what Alpine did, but even more extreme than that, with a lot better airflow than I think Alpine had. Alpine had kind of like a divot in between. They just went for the full out splash waterfall. We can see that's one of the designs that is extremely aggressive on this car, but it is already rumored that for pre-testing, the actual side pods that we currently have with that undercut, just like Red Bull has, will be even more extreme before in pre-testing, and these aren't the final look of those side pods. They definitely look great. The undercut definitely isn't as big as Red Bull's, but it is a completely different car in comparison to Red Bull's of last year. Some stuff is the same. Of course, it's still a downwash car, but the front wing is completely different. The actual nose itself is super long in comparison to a lot of cars. Their actual cockpit is a lot further back than most cars. Mercedes actually made the change this year to actually put their cockpit further forward. They want to actually change the balance of the weight. So it looks like Aston Martin is making a more rear-oriented car, which does suit Fernando Alonso. He does talk about liking an understeer car, so why not? The actual development of the AMR 23 is supposed to be extreme. We saw in the shakedown that the car was already looking different than the actual renders. They keep speaking about the car. Dan Follows even gave in a comparison that by the end of the year, 75% of the car should be different because they already have that upgrade package ready. They're extremely happy with the base, don't get me wrong. They speak about the base being extremely strong, but it's a lot to build off of. It's a foundation and it's a start. The setup window is a lot bigger than in 2022. We knew that was a problem. They were only really good on the high downforce tracks. This year, they're looking to change that, especially when it comes to straight line speed. They were the slowest car last year, with Mercedes competing with them on straight line speed. And that cannot happen if they're going to try and challenge for even podiums and maybe wins. Let's get into the first loophole that has been found for the AMR 23. The first actual loophole that I have found on the screen right now, and the pictures that I used for it, is what looks to be some type of like edging on the side of the nose going into the floor. When I first looked at this image, I was like, is this on the floor? What is so like radical about this? Well, it's something that's not really been done before. It's on the actual body of the car, and it kind of orients the air towards the weight of the floor and going into that huge undercut that the AMR 23 has. I see some people actually speaking about it as an S-duct, and I don't know if it's that same philosophy that Ferrari has. It looks a lot different to what Ferrari has into the floor going up into the chassis. It doesn't look anywhere that they have another. It doesn't look like they have another actual like air vent going out from the top of the side pod. So I'm not sure if that's what it is. I mean, I'm no aerodynamicist. I saw this and I thought that it was actually really interesting. I wonder if anybody in the comments can actually say what this type of design is and what it actually like does for the car, but it's new and it's something that we've not really seen on other cars. Might add, this is a beautiful image of Fernando Alonso's helmet as well, and the actual car itself in that beautiful paint job. Now, the bigger loophole that I was talking about that another team has actually done, and that is, of course, somebody they are taking engines from. It is Mercedes. If you take a look at the front wing of the AMR, the actual front wing itself is not connected completely to the end plate. Connecting the front wing with what almost looks like these kind of like screws to just kind of have the airflow flow in a different type of way. They did it last year on the front wing as well, and the AMR 23 is taking inspiration off of last year and what the Mercedes car is doing now this year with the front wing. The actual ending of the front wing is completely different. Last year's front wing was actually the downfall of the AMR 2022. Dan Follow speaks about that front wing was not going to fit our budget cap by how much needed to be fixed on it. So it shocks me how bad of an actual front wing that was last year. It was a completely different car by the end of the year, what they started with, so obviously it's a completely different philosophy. The actual airflow is going to be dictated through this front wing and how it's going to get to the back of the car. The front wing and where the airflow goes through will dictate the straight line speed big time. So with no good front wing, you're not going to have good straight line speed, which was shown last year. And Mercedes also had a huge rear wing last year. So did the AMR. That's why they even added those things to have the even more downforce onto it. The AMR 23 is a tricky thing to look at sight. While it is the real car, they're saying that there's a lot of changes actually coming for pre-testing in Bahrain. Now, will this change the car completely? Probably not, but there will be some visible changes on the car that I am really wondering to check out on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And now, with Lance Stroll actually being out with an injury, I hope he comes back quickly. I love me some Lance Stroll. But this does give Alonso a lot of time to now stick into that car, tell the team what's needed, and if they run him for all 3 days, insanely good thing for Alonso and maybe even Aston Martin. What do you guys think? Do you guys think these are genuine loopholes? Do you guys think the actual side pods themselves are loopholes? What do you think this car is going to do in 2023? And are they the team coming out with the most extreme change to their car from 2022? Please let me know your thoughts down below. I am super excited to see what this AMR can do. Leave a like, subscribe. We're so close, and thank you so much for supporting. Also, peace.